In today's world, we are constantly measured by external standards, grades, income, achievements. We are encouraged to compare ourselves to others, often creating a sense of competition that drives us to push harder, achieve more, and keep up with those around us. But this relentless comparison can lead to anxiety, stress, and a feeling of inadequacy. How can we maintain inner peace when society is constantly pushing us to compete and prove ourselves? Epictetus offers us a powerful Stoic thought. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This quote challenges the idea that our value is tied to external accomplishments or how we compare to others. Stoicism teaches that true inner peace comes from acting according to our values, not from participating in the never-ending race of comparison. In this video, we'll explore how Stoic principles can help us find peace of mind that isn't dependent on the competition of modern life. Epictetus offers a thought-provoking insight with his words. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This powerful quote speaks directly to one of the most common sources of stress and anxiety in today's world, the constant pressure to compete and measure up to others. The Stoics believed that improvement and personal growth are not about seeking validation from external achievements or comparing ourselves to others, but about acting according to virtue and personal integrity. Epictetus encourages us to be content with being thought foolish by others if it means staying true to our values and focusing on our own journey. Instead of getting caught up in the race to outdo others, Stoicism teaches that inner peace comes from accepting ourselves and being focused on self-improvement rather than external competition. Epictetus's insight: if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, directly addresses a major challenge in today's competitive society. We live in a world where comparison is constant. From grades to income, achievements, and even social media presence, society encourages us to constantly measure our worth against others. This leads us to push ourselves harder and harder, trying to outperform everyone around us. But in the process, we often lose sight of our true values, and the pressure to keep up can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and even burnout. Epictetus challenges us to let go of the need for external validation and comparison. He encourages us to focus on self-improvement and be content with the idea that others may not understand our path. This Stoic teaching reminds us that true peace of mind comes from within, from being aligned with our values and purpose, not from trying to outdo others. In a world that measures success through external achievements, Stoicism teaches that true success is found in living virtuously, according to our own principles, independent of competition. The struggle with competition and comparison. In modern life, competition is not just a part of professional life, it is embedded in our personal lives too. From social media to educational systems, we are taught to constantly compare ourselves to others. We compete for likes, recognition, status, and approval. This constant measuring against others creates a sense of urgency. We feel like we need to achieve more and do better than the next person to feel worthy or successful. But this cycle of comparison and competition doesn't lead to happiness or fulfillment. Instead, it often creates a constant state of stress and anxiety. Stoicism, however, offers an alternative. Epictetus encourages us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, values, and attitudes, rather than the opinions or achievements of others. By letting go of the need for external validation, we can find peace in knowing that we are acting in line with our own standards and not society's. Stoic practices for finding inner peace in a competitive society let go of comparison. The first step in finding inner peace amidst a competitive society is to stop comparing yourself to others. Stoicism teaches that our value doesn't come from external achievements or how we measure up to others. By focusing on our own journey and personal growth, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of comparison. Instead of measuring our worth by what others have or achieve, we measure it by the virtues we cultivate: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Focus on what you can control. Our core Stoic practice is the dichotomy of control, the idea that we cannot control external events or the opinions of others, but we can control how we respond. The competitive world often leads us to believe that we need to control outcomes and impress others. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own responses, actions, and thoughts. We cannot control others, but we can control our own values and how we live according to them. Embrace the freedom of self-acceptance. Stoicism teaches us to accept ourselves as we are and focus on self-improvement, not self-criticism. Instead of feeling the need to prove ourselves to the world, we focus on what we can do better today, based on our own values, not others' opinions. By focusing on self-acceptance, we free ourselves from the need for external approval, allowing us to live more authentically and within our peace. Seek contentment in simplicity. Stoicism encourages us to simplify our lives and reduce our reliance on external achievements. In a world that constantly tells us we need more, Stoicism helps us embrace the idea that true contentment comes from living simply and aligning our actions with our core values. By practicing simplicity and mindfulness, we shift our focus from external competition to internal growth and self-fulfillment. Reframe setbacks as opportunities for growth. In a competitive world, setbacks are inevitable, but Stoicism teaches us to view them as opportunities for growth. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of our inadequacy or the failure to keep up with others, we can reframe it as a chance to learn, adapt, and grow. Every challenge, setback, or criticism becomes an opportunity to practice virtue and strengthen our resilience. The peace of living with integrity, the true peace that Stoicism offers, is the peace of living in alignment with our values, not with the expectations or judgments of others. By choosing to live virtuously, we find a sense of contentment and resilience that doesn't rely on external validation or competition. Stoicism teaches us that true success isn't found in comparing ourselves to others, but in living according to our principles and growing in virtue. By embracing Stoic practices like self-reflection, self-acceptance, and mental discipline, we free ourselves from the grip of comparison and social pressure, finding true inner peace. Instead of running in the race of external success, we focus on self-improvement and virtue, knowing that this is the path to lasting fulfillment. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the race of competition. Grades, income, and achievements are often used as markers of success. With the constant comparison to others, we may feel like we need to outperform those around us in order to prove our worth. This pressure to measure up can lead to a sense of stress, self-doubt, and even a lack of peace in our personal lives. Instead of living according to our own values and virtue, we can fall into the trap of competing for external validation. Stoicism offers a different approach. Epictetus reminds us that if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This teaching is powerful because it encourages us to focus on self-improvement and personal growth, not the external opinions or expectations of others. Instead of seeking to compete and outdo others, Stoicism urges us to act in alignment with our own values, regardless of the judgments or comparisons of the world around us. When we live virtuously and focus on what we can control, our actions, thoughts, and responses, we find peace. We can release the weight of external competition and focus on personal growth and authentic success. Stoicism teaches that true fulfillment comes not from outperforming others, but from aligning our actions with virtue and inner strength. The challenge of social comparison is everywhere in today's world. We compare ourselves with colleagues, friends, family members, and even strangers on social media. We are often tempted to measure our success by external markers, such as grades, job titles, or income levels. This comparison can lead to unnecessary stress and a sense of inadequacy. The competition for recognition or approval can make us feel as though we are falling behind, even when we are doing our best. Stoicism offers a different way forward, acting according to virtue rather than competing in an external race. The Stoics didn't deny the realities of competition, but they focused on what they could control, their actions and their responses to external events. By shifting our focus from external outcomes to internal growth, we can find peace in the present moment and pursue success in a way that aligns with our true values. Stoic practices for remaining true to your values in a competitive society define your own values, in a world that constantly encourages us to measure our worth against others. The first step is to define what really matters to us. What are the values that guide us? What do we believe constitutes true success? Stoicism teaches us that we should be guided by wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These values form the foundation of authentic success, one that is aligned with virtue rather than external markers of achievement. Embrace the courage to be different. Stoicism teaches us that true courage comes from being authentic and true to our principles, even when it means going against the crowd. In a competitive society, it takes courage to say no to external pressure and to live according to your values. When we are no longer afraid of being thought foolish or out of step with society, we regain control over our own lives and decisions. Focus on what you can control. One of the core Stoic practices is to focus only on what is within our control. We cannot control what others think of us, how others perform, or the outcome of every situation. However, we can control our own responses, our actions, and the way we choose to live our lives. By focusing on what we can control, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of competition and comparison, allowing us to stay focused on our true goals. Reframe success and failure. Stoicism teaches that success is not about external rewards or beating others. It is about living in alignment with our values. Instead of viewing success as winning in the external race, Stoicism encourages us to see it as personal growth and virtue. Every setback is an opportunity to practice resilience and wisdom. And every achievement is a reflection of the virtue we have cultivated along the way. By reframing success and failure in terms of personal growth, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of external competition. Regular reflection and self-examination. The Stoics practiced self-reflection daily to ensure that their actions were aligned with their values. At the end of each day, they would ask themselves, did I act in accordance with my principles today? Did I make decisions based on wisdom and virtue? By reflecting on our actions and thoughts, we can ensure that we are always acting from a place of integrity and personal growth. Rather than from a desire to compete or impress others, the peace of true success, the freedom Stoicism offers is the freedom from the pressure of external competition. By focusing on internal growth and virtue, we can find true peace and fulfillment, independent of societal measures of success. When we act with integrity and authenticity, we no longer feel the need to compare ourselves to others or to meet external expectations. Instead, we focus on personal progress, knowing that true success is found in living according to our values, not in the opinions or approval of others. Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from within, and that by staying true to our values, we can navigate the competitive pressures of the world with resilience, clarity, and inner peace. As we conclude today's reflection on maintaining inner peace in a competitive society, remember that true success and fulfillment are not found in the external race of comparison or achievement. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The path to inner peace and authentic success comes when we act according to our values regardless of what others may think or expect. Stoicism teaches us that peace of mind is not determined by how we compare to others, but by how we align our actions with our principles. When we focus on self-improvement, virtue, and living authentically, we free ourselves from the weight of competition and social expectations by practicing self-awareness, resilience, and integrity. We find a sense of purpose that is independent of external validation. So, the next time you feel the pressure of social comparison, remember that true peace comes from living authentically and staying true to your values. By focusing on your own journey and embracing virtue as your true measure of success, you can navigate the challenges of a competitive world with calm, confidence, and inner strength. Thank you for joining us today. If this video resonated with you, subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit from learning how to stay true to their values in a world full of external pressures. Together, let's walk the Stoic path of peace, resilience, and meaningful living.